Hi, welcome to Joanna's DIY Life. On this channel, I like to do a little bit of everything. Today we're going to be making DIY chalk paint. Now let's get started. Okay, so I'm tired of not being able to find the colors of chalk paint that I like. And I found a recipe. Well, actually I found a bunch of recipes, but this is my favorite. So we're going to try it with chalk, talcum powder, which I had this forever, just saying, I used it for crafting, but this is pure talc. They do have it on Amazon, but it's kind of pricey. And then I have calcium carbonate, which I found on Amazon, and I can link these in my Amazon store. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do, and my sound may be a little weird because I'm doing this, as I go, and I didn't want to have to do a voiceover because I'll forget. So I have a mic above me. I'm not using a mic on my chest or anything. But anyways, I have a matte acrylic paint that you can get at Walmart. Cheapest paint ever. It's just regular matte paint. Then I have the Folk Art multi-surface, which this also comes in matte, same thickness. This paint is thicker, this paint is thinner. This is cheaper, this is a little bit higher. I think these are $1.47, $1.97, something like that. Sorry if you hear my dog sneezing in the background. Don't know if you heard it, but if you did, then you did. Okay, now, how I got my chalk, okay? Let me just show you this little trick. Let me get everything out of my way. I'm going to use this dark board. I'm going to use this side, okay? Chalk. This is from Walmart, but I will tell you, Crayola is the best, okay? I'm using one of the Dollar Tree foot files. I broke the handle. It's perfectly fine. You can use it with or without a handle. Personally, I like the Walmart foot files better. They're a little pricier, but this thing pops off a whole lot better. Now, you could do this one of two ways. You just gently run this down through here, okay? And then it'll build up in the foot file and, of course, on here. Or you can do it on the sanding part, which takes longer. This will be the same grittiness on either side, so it doesn't matter. The reason I like the Crayola chalk better is because the Crayola chalk is smoother. Okay, this chalk, I also got it at Walmart, but it was in the craft part, and it is grittier for some reason. It comes out gritty. It does work, but it's a little gritty. But anyways, that's how I ended up getting my chalk for my chalk paint, okay? Because I figured chalk paint, chalk paint, whatever. So let's get to mixing. So I do a 2-to-1 ratio, okay? So I'm going to leave these for the thick, more expensive paint, and this is for the cheap paint that anybody can get, okay? So with the chalk, which 2-to-1 means 2 of these to 1 of these. So I'm going to use teaspoons. But with the chalk, you'll want to put your teaspoon in your bowl first, okay? And it doesn't matter, just each one, because your chalk was gritty. So you're going to have to mix that with water, okay? The best mixing spoon, a baby spoon from the Dollar Tree or Walmart, I'm not even sure, but either way. So I'm going to put this here because I know these are the chalks. Now you're just going to add water, just enough to mix this really, really well and blend your chalk. Warm water is okay, cool water is okay, it doesn't matter. You just want a little water to blend your chalk up to get that gritty out, okay? You want a smooth consistency from what I found in doing this. Holly from Humble Pie does this, and she does an excellent job. That's where I got it from, but in case you're not subscribed to her, just wanted to show you what I'm doing, and since this is just chalk, I'm going to do the same. Now I'm using the same spoon. You don't want to pour water in because you just want to blend this enough to get the little bits of crunchy out, okay? And it will smooth it out, kind of like a pasty type deal, you know, but not so pasty that it won't come off your spoon, as I'm having trouble with here. But anyway, just mix this up in your bowl to get it smooth, okay? Now, people have used cornstarch. They have used plaster of Paris, which I hear is not good for your lungs. They have used, what did I say? Baking soda, plaster of Paris. They have used cornstarch, which doesn't work in my opinion. It's really, really thin. All right, now we got our chalk in here. I'm just going to start adding the paint, okay? So you have a teaspoon of chalk. You want a teaspoon of paint. 2 teaspoons of paint, my bad. There's 1. And I normally scrape this off with my finger. There's 2. Okay? There's 2. Let's go ahead and mix this up. And we'll move on. Now, when you're mixing, you want to mix real good to make sure you're getting all of that mixed in. These spoons are great, okay? That's the thickness of it. It's okay. We'll let that sit. Now your chalk tends to have bubbles. It'll have a bubbly type thing to it when it starts drying. So I'm just going to do this one first because that's what's on my spoon. Okay, so 1 teaspoon of the talc powder. This is a half, so I'm putting 2 in there. And then we'll add 2 teaspoons of the paint. 1, 2. Now we're going to mix this. This may be a long video, but that's because we're experimenting today, people, and I'm talking you through it. So, yeah. This is just because I'm sick of not being able to find my paint. Now, you can see that powder is in there, but it doesn't matter because it mixes well, okay? It mixes well. This is a little thicker, I must say. And you do have to mix well. That's why this baby spoon is perfect. And these are little cups from the Dollar Tree, but trust me, you do not want to store your paint in there. I'll show you storage options in just a minute. But in these, if it's a very, very short term, and you do have to close these up, you know, between coats of paint if you need that, because they dry fast. But if you want to store this long term, if you make a bigger batch, like a lot of times I know we use a lot of black and white, so if you store those, they definitely, if you make a big one, need to be stored in something airtight, okay? Now, this is calcium carbonate. What calcium carbonate is chalk, or it is antacids. So this is actually a food grade. It is not harmful to you at all. So there is my 1 teaspoon of calcium carbonate and my 2 things of paint. One. Don't you love it? 2. 2. Now, if you want to do a whole one of those, you have to figure out how many teaspoons are in the bottle to add your product, whichever one that you choose from this video, okay? So, stirring that up, this is what that looks like. Pretty much just like the talc powder. The talc powder is pretty expensive, but don't buy a foot powder kind, okay? They do have that on Amazon. Do not buy that because your paint will seriously smell like medicine. Trust me, I've done that before because I had some of that as well. And it stinks, okay? Baby powder smells a whole lot better. And there's also one that I can link, and it is made by Yardley. And they have different scents that they say smell pretty good. They're not as expensive, and also barber shops have talc for when they're done, so you can find barber's talc. Now I'm going to pause the video and I'm going to do the same thing with the multi-surface. It's a satin, not matte, but this is folk art. And like I said, the thickness of these paints are all the same no matter what folk art. You can get these at Hobby Lobby. You can find just not very many colors at Walmart, but there are a few. Make sure you don't get the ones that are for glass. This is multi-surface. So let me do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so let's paint, okay? I'm going to do these first because they've been sitting the longest, and then I'll move to this. This actually looks like a very good consistency with the talcum powder and the calcium carbonate for stencils. Like chalk stencil things. That's just my opinion. Okay, so I'm gonna get different dry brushes. Y'all just overlook all my brushes here, but I'm gonna use dry brushes for every paint here, just to make sure there's no water mixed in the paint. Okay, so first one is the chalk. I'm gonna do one coverage to see how it does. Okay, and that looks like it's gonna need 2 coats. So that is the chalk paint with the chalk, okay? And it covers okay. Like I said, you'll need 2 coats. Talcum powder, you can see it's thicker. It is really thick, okay? So let's go down and paint with this. Still might need 2 coats, but you can definitely tell that it's already a lot thicker than the other. Okay, let me dry my brushes out. I want them dry when I do the other paint because I want to be fair, you know. I want to be fair. Okay, so now let's try the calcium carbonate. Oops. This is pretty much the same consistency of the talcum powder, honestly. It goes on thick. It's nice. Now, you do not want to do this on furniture. This is for craft projects only. You could see the chalk method, which chalk paint, chalk, you know, did not work. Now, if I added more chalk, maybe, I don't know. But with the apple barrel, not working. Okay, so I'm gonna put I'll put this one to the test, and I'm gonna do it on the bottom. Okay, so I'm not moving anything, y'all. This is the same deal. Okay, my brush is pretty dry, so we're gonna use the chalk, and this is with the Folk Art multi-surface, and it's still really thin. You know, not good coverage right there. Not good coverage at all. You can see chalk in there as well. I'm just going to leave that there. Now let's try the talcum powder with this one. You know, I think the multi-surface paint is thinner. I really do. I don't know. But yeah. But anyway, there's that on that. Now let's try the calcium carbonate. Okay, since these two are pretty much the same, that's a little rougher. That is more soft. I'm not recommending multi-surface paint, okay? Let me try something else real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, so my favorite is the calcium carbonate or the talcum powder. This is easier found, the calcium carbonate. I'll link a link in my description box for you in my Amazon store. It's a link to my Amazon store, so you click the store link and then I'll have everything separated. This will be in my general crafts. I think that's what it's labeled. But this I redone, and this is folk art, baby pink, acrylic, just matte acrylic paint, same as this, okay? This is thicker. It actually done excellent. It done excellent. The multi-surface, don't. Multi-surface failed. This is awesome. And also, I ended up getting, 2, 4, 6. 6 teaspoons in a bottle. So 6 teaspoons of paint to 3 teaspoons of talc or calcium carbonate, whichever you prefer. They recommend for furniture latex paint. So I have latex house paint. So my favorite paint would be the medium would be the calcium carbonate. There's 2 teaspoons here, and if y'all hear that, it is pouring down rain and I have a tin roof. I am extremely sorry. Life happens, So 2 halves, you make a whole teaspoon, so you got 2 teaspoons of paint, which is latex house paint, okay? Interior latex house paint. And then 1 teaspoon calcium carbonate powder. Okay, let me stir that up really good. Now this is supposed to be what you use on furniture. Okay, now I've not tried it. I don't do a lot of furniture dupes or anything like that. And you can get samples though at Lowe's or wherever, and they give you sample things. They're good, but they're not inexpensive, okay? These are more cost effective, cost friendly, whatever you want to call it. I don't care, you call it what you want. Okay, let me put this right here, okay? This is the latex paint with the calcium carbonate. Latex paint is somewhat thicker anyway, so it is a better quality paint. That is beautiful, people. It is beautiful. So when I make my DIY paint, okay, I'm either going to use the talcum powder or the calcium carbonate. Like I said, the talc is a little rougher. The calcium carbonate is so much smoother. This is almost already dry. It dries like super fast. This is smoother. So probably lean more toward the calcium carbonate. But since I have this, I'll use it while I have it. No big deal. And then the latex paint is also a plus, and that's used on furniture. Now, if you want it thicker, of course you can add a little more calcium carbonate or, your talcum powder. Do it a little at a time and test it before you start painting a project to make sure that, it's not overwhelming or super, super thick. Okay, so I done something else. I added to my chalk another half of chalk. Okay, so this is a good cheap alternative because you can buy a pack of chalk for like, $1 something, $1.25, And this is a whole pack of chalk. It fills one of these, okay? It's a whole box, almost a whole box of chalk. So you get a pretty good amount. Now, with the chalk, you want to do equal parts, okay? And it does get thicker when it sits. I think all of them will. So I'm going to do a test run after they have set and got thick. But don't judge me for using the same paintbrush, because I have most of my paintbrushes in the doodad there. So this is the chalk after it's sit, and this is after I added more. This is the talc. It's definitely thicker, no different than the chalk paint now. And this is the calcium carbonate after it sits. Calcium carbonate is definitely the winner, just saying. And then this will be the multi-surface after, the light pink after it's set for a little bit. And it's pretty good coverage too. So when they sit, they do get a little thicker. But for the chalk, it's equal parts. Equal parts, equal parts. All the way, equal parts. There's your chalk paint recipes. Enjoy. Now, storage option, when you get done, if you use these little bottles, you can easily just spoon them back in their bottle before you use it. Give it a little shaky, pour it out, and you have excellent chalk paint, okay? Now, another awesome way, if you're storing more paint, is, let me just stop, to use, where did I put them? Oh, these shorter jelly jars I buy at Walmart in the canning section. These are excellent for small batches of chalk paint. Now, if you're doing black and white, these little larger ball jars are awesome for bigger paints. They seal real well. And also with these, other than, different than screw lids, okay? I eat a lot of honey because of my allergies. So I tend to put my chalk paint in these, okay? These are single lids. So if you get chalk up around this, you can't open it, okay? You need to wipe them down before you store them. These, if they get hung, you just take a little thing and pry that off, and that works so much better. So these are good alternatives to storage if you don't, scrape them back into your bottles. And you could put the Dollar Tree labels or whatever labels you want and label them chalk paint, okay? So that way you don't get your acrylics mixed up with your chalks. But anyways, that's the homemade DIY chalk paint recipe. Hope y'all enjoy. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. You are a blessing. See you next time.